It is now time for Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, brought to you by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica, first on the land. And this morning we're discussing understanding the soil's physical properties to build a strong crop foundation. This we're doing with Sajae Jones, who is agronomist for the parishes of Manchester and St.Elizabeth. Good morning, Sajae, and welcome to the Big 94. How are you, my brother?
Good morning, Althea. Good morning, listeners. I'm doing well.
Good to have you on with us, Sajae. I trust you had a good and wonderful, restful Easter.
Oh, yes, it was good.
What a weekend good. Long and nice.
Man.
All right. But, Sajae, we're discussing a topic that is really very important, because I believe that if we understand the physical properties of the soil, then we can make better decisions when it comes to the work that we're doing. And it doesn't matter what kinds of food we're growing. It is important for us to understand the composition of our soil, right?
Yes, that is it. A wise man builds his house upon a firm foundation. Mm-hmm. So why not plant your crop upon a firm foundation?
That's right. What are the key physical properties of soil that determine how well crops grow, Sajae? And why must farmers build a strong soil foundation before they can even think about getting high yields?
Yes, this is an excellent opening point. But before I get to that, I would just like to take this opportunity to give our farmers a bit of an update as regards to this month's activity from first-hand point of view.
Because it is Farmers' Month, so we need to, right?
Yes, so we'll be having a series of online training sessions and also in-person training sessions centered around soil health, as we seek to get vital information into the hands of our farmers for this month. The information will be put out on our social media spaces as the month progresses and the times come close. Now, as regards to the question you put forward, some of the key physical properties that determine how well crops perform, we can look at them in sections. So let's say 1, soil texture. This can be broadly divided into sandy soils, loamy soils, or clayey soils. 2, soil texture. Soil texture, here we're still talking about soil texture. We're talking about how well these bind together in terms of aggregate. 3, porosity and size distribution. This tells us how air and water are distributed within the soil. And bulk density. This is a key soil property that tells us how compact or loose our soil is. And then finally we want to talk about water holding capacity and drainage of the soil. It is important to set a strong foundation, as the crop depends on their foundation, the soil, for water, nutrient availability, root anchorage, and expansion.
All right, so very important, all of this. And the farmers, I know, they have whipped out the notebooks, or they're making the notes in their phones or on whatever device they have. Before I ask you to do the deep dive, just want to read a message here. This message is from Man from Plowden. He says the Rose Hill and Wigton wind farm areas have traditionally been known for their sweet potato production. Since the onset of bauxite mining in and around that area, sweet potato production has been significantly reduced. And he says he's suggesting that I direct fertilizer reps to pay attention to helping farmers in the Rose Hill, Wigton wind farm areas to rejuvenate the sweet potato production. So, Sajae, a little bit of work there for you and the team to see if you can go over to that area and engage the sweet potato farmers in conversation. So I've delivered the message. We can now move on to what you actually came here to discuss, which is soil. Soil is important for sweet potato production too, anyway.
Yes, it is. And thank you very much, man, from Wigton. And I definitely just took out my notebook and I wrote it down.
All right, so it's Man from Plowden. So, Man from Plowden, but...
Man from Plowden.
Right, but commenting for the farmers over there in the Wigton area.
All right, thank you.
All right. So let us now jump into the issues that impact the soil and how it is that we should treat same. How does the texture of a soil impact the issues such as water infiltration and retention?
All right, great. So I'm going to broaden this a bit and also look at a few points.
Sure.
seeing as you're asking about how things impact the soil, so we'll take a look at water infiltration, aeration, root growth, incidence of soil-borne disease, stuff like that. So let's go with the first one that you mentioned, water infiltration and retention. Now let's try to understand this a bit. Water infiltration speaks to how quickly water soaks into the soil, while retention speaks to how well the soil holds on to that water for plant use. So soil texture determines the size and distribution of the spaces between soil particles. So for example, sandy soils have a coarse texture and large spaces which allow water to move through it quickly. This means that it has a high infiltration but a low retention. While on the other hand, clay soils have fine texture and very small spaces, which allows water to move into it slowly. It holds on to it tight, which results in a low infiltration but high water retention. While loamy soils have a mix, it's the best of the both worlds, where it has small and large spaces allowing water to enter easily and still be held for some amount of plant use while still allowing it to drain. Mm-hmm. So a quick recap of that, you can say sandy soils rushes water through it quickly and it lasts. Clay soils enter slowly and stays for a long time, while loamy soils hold water and still drain well. The next point that we want to look at is aeration. And we can think of this, we can say it speaks to how much oxygen roots can get from the soil to grow healthy and strong. Aeration depends on the proportion of air-filled spaces after draining. So how much space is left after the soil drains a bit. Sandy soils drain rapidly, leaving pores filled with air, allowing for high oxygen diffusion rates. While clay soils retain water in small pore spaces, reducing gas exchange and creating anaerobic conditions. Poor aeration, important to note, can lead to accumulation of gases like CO2 and ethylene, which can damage roots and result in poor overall growth. So we can look at the simple again. Sandy soils, lots of air spaces, roots can breathe. Clay soils, water-filled spaces, less oxygen available. This is when rain is falling. And loam will give you a good balance between both of them. It is important to note that unlike the leaves of the plant, the roots cannot create their own oxygen. This is why we need to have the aeration balance. Roots use oxygen for respiration, which is how they produce energy, absorb water and nutrients, grow and expand through, and also grow and expand through the soil. Now, as we speak about root growth,
before you move on to the root growth, the issue of the tilth of the soil and how it is that the water passes through, can any amelioration assist? I know that different, as you point out, different soil types have different types of texture, and is there anything that the farmer can do to improve the texture of the soil?
Most definitely. And as I go along, we will definitely go through this, and we do have strategies that we recommend for persons to improve the aeration itself, because I see that you and the listeners are getting it, that the aeration is one of the key points in the soil, and we do have things that can help with that, and also help with the retention of moisture and all of that for the soil. So yes, there are answers to the problems that we farmers are facing.
All right. So you mentioned then what happens to the roots and the difference between the roots and the foliage, and how they respond to oxygen, how they respond to, I guess, the elements of nature. So the way the roots get down into the soil and how they really are set in the soil, it sounds to me as if that is very important. And I wonder what role fertilization plays.
Yes, how they interact with the soil is very important, and fertilization is just one aspect of it.
Okay.
A lot of the times, the application of fertilizer does not equal the uptake or the utilization of fertilizer by the plant. because if the plant is unable to access said fertilizer, then it will be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are not enough air spaces, not enough access to water for that fertilizer to be dissolved, then the plant will just have it there and can't eat it. It will be like having canned food without a can opener.
Yeah.
You can't get it.
It serves no real purpose unless
No
you can
real
get
purpose.
to it.
Can't get to it.
Yeah, so we have to figure that out. All right, I don't want to move much further into the conversation because we're approaching the news break, so perhaps you can just quickly run through the 3 points that you made in terms of the texture of the soil and the impact. What did you mention?
Right. So what I will do, I will just sum up my last 2 points for this particular question,
Right.
and then we can hit that break. So we did just go through the root essentially, which speaks to how the root can access it in terms of the influence of hardness and density and the continuity of pores. Mm-hmm. The other thing that we want to look at is the incidence of soil-borne diseases. So soil texture affects moisture levels and air movement within the soil, which influences microbial activity. So this is saying that within the soil, we will have microbes, good and bad. And if the soil moisture is high, then the microbes within the soil that are harmful can then proliferate and cause problems for it. Things like Pythium and Phytophthora can come in play here. So it's similar to outside.
So we have to then be very careful with what we're doing. We already have challenges. We're getting more rainfall than normal. And so what we do as well is going to be critical in terms of correcting some of these issues or ensuring that we don't encounter these problems. Sajae, we're taking the break for the news and the weather. And then when we come back, we'll pick up on our conversation. We want to take a look at what practical management practices can be implemented when we come back. Farm Talk in Sunny Side Up continues now. Our guest at this time is Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Manchester and St.Elizabeth on Newport-Fersan. And we've been taking a look at understanding the soil's physical properties to build a strong crop foundation. Sajae, I want to go straight to understanding what practical management practices can be implemented to improve soil foundation and to address issues such as you've mentioned before, issues with water filtration, infiltration and retention, aeration, root growth. What can be done to help the farmers as they make better use of the soil that they have?
Well, to achieve this goal, the first step I would say is to get a soil test. It only costs $50 and will be in hand within 2 to 3 weeks. One might ask, why do you need a soil test and how a soil test can help with this? Mm-hmm. Simple. Searching for treasure without a map is not a good idea. This map, the soil test, tells us, among other things, the CEC, the cation exchange capacity, and it also tells us the organic matter content. Now, this is coming back to what you were asking earlier on in the program. So let's look at it from a two-phase way. Let's say issue and solution. So poor moisture retention and lower organic matter. The addition of humic acid, after you get the information of the organic matter content, the addition of the humic acid to your program will improve your water and nutrient holding capacity. So we have humic acid with us in our portfolio that you can either get as a blend within a granular fertilizer, or you can apply it through a drip system to your field to up that humic, to up that organic matter content within your soil. And as I said before, it will improve your water holding and your nutrient holding capacity. Deal with the soil. Poor aeration and root growth. We can create air channels in the soil so the roots can breathe and reproduce and respire, minimizing anaerobic conditions. This can be achieved through plowing. It is important to avoid heavy machinery on wet fields, as this can lead to compaction, making the problem worse. So although we want you to plow, if you have a clay soil, and as mentioned before, we come out and we do a field visit and we test it with a penetrometer and we say, boy, plow. We don't want you to plow on a wet soil because it can compact that soil. And as regards to the incidence of soil-borne disease, the addition of organic matter again can feed the microbes. The plowing can create airspace limit the amount of growth of harmful pathogens, as it will minimize the favorability of the environment. So it will make the environment less of a comfortable place for those harmful pathogens to grow and affect your crop.
So part of ensuring that we do the right thing is to disrupt what the pathogens want to do, to disrupt what it is that the insects want to do in the soil so that we can have better outcomes.
Essentially, that is it. It's similar to what the police force does then with those also. There are criminal activities, and then the disruption of the normal operations within an area disrupts that activity. So you have a lower incidence of crime within that area. So it lowers the disruption creation of air pockets, right. the inclusion of organic matter. All of those will shift the paradigm and put it in an area where the beneficial microbes can thrive and where the soil can penetrate those roots, those soil spaces, growing through them, being able to access dissolved nutrients, water, and also air, so it can carry out its metabolic functions and increase its mass, thus providing more nutrients and anchorage for the plant.
Now, I know that one of the major issues that farmers have, and this is something that we see across the length and breadth of the island, is with soil compaction. What strategies, Sajae, can be employed to address issues faced by farmers struggling with soil compaction?
Good. Because this one is truly an issue. And what we find is that the issues that most time affect persons are the ones that are unseen to a degree. So you can have compaction coming in the form of a hard pan, where it's subsoil and you're not necessarily seeing that part of the soil is constructed. So on the top it looks great. So as we know now, soil compaction occurs when soil particles are tightly pressed together, right? Reducing pore space for air, water, and roots. What we propose to farmers is to adopt the following strategies. So the first thing that you can do is to request a field visit. We can use the penetrometer to measure soil compaction. A penetrometer indicates how dense the soil is at different depths.
Glad you said it, because I was going to ask you. Penetrometer.
Yeah, man. So okay. That's what it does. This will help the farmer to determine where intervention is needed. So within that field, we'll do an appraisal, which is where we'll use the penetrometer to go and test different areas of your field to see if it was plowed properly, if we need to plow it, and we'll make recommendations based on the measurements of a tool that is designed for the assessment. So it's not that we're coming and we walk and say, why? Over here so look hard, over here so look soft. No, we'll be using specialized tool designed for that assessment. Then it comes now to mechanical loosening, what we all know as plowing or subsoiling. Deep plowing can break up compacted layers and increase pore space. So it's not that if you have a clay soil, it's a death sentence. No. We can recommend, based on the visit, what to do. This plowing will improve the air movement, water infiltration, and root penetration. Avoid overplowing, especially on wet soils, to prevent creating hard pans. So we mentioned that before. So when that heavy machine hits that wet soil, what will happen is that the layer that is below the surface will get compacted, while the plow will cut the top surface and it will look alright, and then you won't get that root penetration for that proper anchorage that we spoke of before. Another thing that you can do is add organic matter, which comes in the form of our humic acid. Now we can add this to the granular blend as mentioned before, and can also run it through the drip system. This will help to loosen the soil naturally, will improve aggregation, will increase the cation exchange capacity, right? The higher the CCC, the CEC allows nutrient retention in the soil, supporting healthy root growth after the compaction has been released, right? So remember we said that the first thing that we want to do is get the soil test. Now the soil test will tell you the CEC, and this is the roadmap as to know how much of each thing that you need to do. So how much the CEC combination with the organic matter will tell you how much humic acid do I need to add to get my soil where it needs to be. So it's not just blindly adding anything. We want to know where we're at so we can know where we're going.
Do you recommend that farmers who are just coming into the business, they get all of those tests done before they even put a seed in the ground?
Excellent. So, as with farming is a science. And as soon as farmers accept that farming is a science and we should run it as such, a business, we should run it as a business using science because we're scientists. Once you're a farmer, you are a scientist. And there is no scientist that conducts experiments without doing proper testing. You have to know what you're doing, and the only way to know what you're doing is to get a soil test. It will save you time, it will save you effort, it will save you money. It will improve your production. Definitely. Before you even get a seed purchase at farm store, before you purchase the first chemical, before you purchase the first grain of fertilizer, get your soil tested. It will determine you win or you lose.
Okay.
Or you lost.
All right. Can you just then quickly, before you have to leave us, run through some of the activities that you have coming up? I know this is very important. This is Farmers Month, and you're going all out to assist the farmers. I know you always go all out, but Farmers Month holds added significance. So just remind us what is on the cards for this Farmers Month.
All right. So on the card, we'll be having in person and online, and we will definitely be doing more soil, and when we're finished with that, we'll be doing a bit more soil. Soil health is the topic for this month, so we'll be doing Zoom trainings online on Thursday evening starting next week, and then we will also be doing the in-person trainings across the island, and those will be put up in the communities, and they will also be put up online as they come up and as we go along. So we invite farmers, please, it is in your best interest to come out, whether it be in person or online, and take advantage of this. It is information that is vital. It is information that we are trying to make as easily accessible to you as possible, and it can make that difference in your operation.
All right. So, and of course, because you have given all of that information, I have a message here from someone wanting to know how they can access the training, and the site visits that you've been talking about.
Okay. So for the site visit, you can reach out to us at Newport-Fersan, and we will arrange a time and a date with you that is at both our convenience. So we will put it together and we will come out and visit. For my phone number, it's 553-3832. You can reach out to me, call or WhatsApp, and we can arrange that visit for you. Mm-hmm. In regards to the training session, we will definitely be putting it up on every social media that we have, and we'll also be putting it up on our WhatsApp. So if you have any of our numbers, you will be seeing it on WhatsApp, and you can always visit our Facebook or social media pages to see what's going to happen. We will be making it accessible.
All right, certainly sounds good. Thank you very much, Sajae. We're looking forward to having you come back to us at some other point in time. Of course, we know that we have this feature, Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, the first and last Tuesday of every month. And very importantly, you're on the ground, you and the other members of the team, you're going into the different farming communities, you're engaging the farmers, they're sharing what is going on, and you're assisting them, which is really what it is all about. So, Newport-Fersan, you're more than just fertilizer.
Definitely, and we aim to be. We aim to be what we want to be, is that go-to that will help you succeed, because your success equals our success.
All right. Thank you, my brother. You take care.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
A pleasure. Sajae Jones there, agronomist out of Manchester and St. Elizabeth, bringing to a close, first hand in the field, real issues, real solutions.